Hey, this is Stan Stylez, the King of Cream, and you're listening to 3 Count Podcast. That's right.
I'm in fashion.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring, and I'm your host Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. And by our 200 and something episode, I would hope that you would just say it. I am your Sherpa, or like your tribal chief. Acknowledge me. So anyway, it's never about me because like every good person, every good Sherpa, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. And that's why we have the person here next to me. Where can you find this person? You can find this person at HTW, IGB, SHP, AWA, 1CW, H2O, Outbreak, ICW, DDW, CWF, PWH, and OPW. He is the master of the multiple pants. He is the shake weight supreme. He is the sizzling, the king of cream, the leader of the creamy world order. Stan Stylez.
I am here. That's right.
What's
that
up,
was
man?
an amazing intro.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm so glad to have you on the show, man, because we've met a couple times, and I was like, hey, this is someone that I just need to have a conversation with, and just a lot of fun, because I'm a massive fan of your gimmick.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so we met each other at Asylum, then we turned around and met each other again at 1CW, and I just wanted to ask the question, man. Who is Stan Stylez?
He's just a guy that loves wrestling so much, and pretty much, to sum it up, it's like, you ever see that show on Food Network, Chopped?
Yes.
Okay, it's pretty much like they gave me a basket and they said, here's going to be your gimmick. You have to create a gimmick out of this. There's a shake weight, whipped cream, and pants. Do it. And make it work.
Well, I love the fact that like there's things that like set him off, but then it's just like, you're kind of like this like instigator, but then like you're kind of like shocked when things kind of backfire, and then you're just like, I just love like the whole presentation and like all the insides and outs of the like little jokes that you have going on, because when I was working with you, I couldn't even front. Like I was popping a little bit with the pants sequence. Like I was like, oh, I'm taking this. All right.
Yeah. A lot of people say that. It's funny because I always say you got to go out there and have fun. Like, don't take this so seriously. Just have fun and entertain those fans. Because like the most I get out of wrestling is when I see a fan smile and they're laughing. I can see that emotion, and I'm like, they're having fun. Like, they're seeing something they've never seen before, and I know I'm creating a memory in their mind, and they're like, I'm going to go home and tell all my friends that I saw, like, the most craziest thing. And if people, like, are shocked by it, hey, they're shocked by it, too. And they're like, yo, I went to some wrestling show, and I saw this guy have all these pants on, and he was, like, hitting people with them. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, what brought you into the sport?
Oh man, well, watching it as a young kid, me and my family, we didn't really have like cable or anything, so we used to just watch. I used to watch just man, go back. What was it called? Oh, WCW Worldwide and WWF Superstars, and that was pretty much. I just watched that. I was watching. I believe I was watching. WWF Superstars, and I saw Shawn Michaels with the Heartbreak Hotel, and for just some reason, when I saw him, I was like, I want to be like this guy. Like, this guy's awesome. I want to be a wrestler like this guy. And I would tell my mom, like, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. And she's like, oh, that's great, Stanley, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm going to be a wrestler. And I stuck to my guns.
Nice. It's funny because I talked about this a couple times, but it always seems like to be like some female family member that kind of like introduces us to like wrestling, or they just kind of like try not to encourage us, but encourage us coincidentally through the process, right? 'Cause like you said, your mom was like, sure. I know my aunt, my mom were like, whatever, like you're not gonna be a pro wrestler. Don't think about it. And then bam, we take off and we go for it.
Yeah, no, it's funny you said that because nobody in my family really pushed it. I kind of discovered it my own, and I knew about it, and I'm like, oh, I just for some reason, like, I just want to watch wrestling, and I just really got into it, and I was, from when I saw Shawn Michaels, I just kept on watching it more and more, and then my sister would watch it here and there with me too, and like my grandmom said, like my great grandmom was a real big wrestling fan. Like she would go to the matches and stuff like that, and like loved it. So I don't know. Maybe she said, and there's a wrestler in my family, like way in the past. So I don't know if I inherited the genes from them.
Nice. Well, I know you've been in for quite some time, so the question I really want to know is, what's the worst bump you've taken?
Man, this is hard. I mm, I was injured. It's not really taking a well. It's more like a botch bump, but like I separated my shoulder in a match at Beyond Wrestling back in 2012. I didn't even know it was separated. I knew it hurt for a while, and then I get checked, and I'm like, oh, that sucked. And I was on the shelf for a little bit after that. But like bump wise, man, they all suck. But I can't really. I'm gonna say really a bump. I was suplexed from the or superplexed from the outside, from the inside of the ring to the outside to a bunch of guys, and that was probably the craziest. It wasn't like the worst, but man, I really can't recollect. Probably that one where I messed up my shoulder, probably the worst one.
Well, it's crazy though, because it does sound like taking a superflex to the outside is probably like one of the scariest things, and
Yeah,
and especially because you have to trust that everybody's gonna catch you.
yeah, and
And
they did. There were so many guys to do it, but it was scary. I was like, God, because I'm not a high flyer. I don't like really go on the top rope, and I was like, oh man.
So after a match, I'm kind of curious, what's the post match snack, post match meal that you gotta have?
It's always a cheat meal. I always gotta go a cheat meal. If I'm really hungry, it's probably one of my protein bars, or I'll have like I usually have Built bars, but like I usually have one of those crazier bars now. Like there's these bars called Muscle Sandwich, and none of them are the healthiest. But this has a lot of sugar and a lot of fat, but and a pretty decent amount of protein. But it just tastes so good. It tastes like a Nutter Butter, a peanut butter one. And I'm just like, oh my god! I usually eat that, or it's a cheat meal. And I've been traveling a lot, so it's usually fast food or something like a Sheets or something, because some of these shows get done so late and everyone closes at 10. I'm like, oh, I can't go out and get anything. Like so, it's usually like that.
Yeah, no, I understand that because I know like whenever I leave shows, it's always like, what's open, what can I
Yeah,
grab, and what can I get back on the road with? So it's always like, let me go through, let me stop at like a Royal Farms, let me stop at a Sheetz, let me stop at a
yeah,
Wawa's and just grab something that I can and just bounce.
yeah. Royal Farms is definitely up there, and I definitely like Royal Farms. Um, but if I had a choice, if it was a show that got done where stuff was still open, it'd have to be Chinese food. I love Chinese food.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan. I'm a
Oh
massive.
man.
If it came to it, like I'm a massive mark of Chinese food,
Oh
but
my god.
I would need to find me like a good like Mexican place that serves like bomb ass enchiladas and just let me go to
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. Chinese food are definitely like if it's it's crazy making me think here because all the KFCs around my way were either closed down, they actually opened up the one not that far from me, and I'm like, oh, so I'm just like all excited for that. I'm like, finally KFC.
Nice. So, what's one of the hardest lessons that you've had to learn being in the business?
Um, man, a lot. I definitely would say um again, don't take yourself too seriously. Um, if one door closes, another one's always going to open because there's always going to be wrestling, always. And another one I would say, I'll give you three. Don't sell wrestling, sell yourself, because that's what
I
the
like that.
fans really um, go to. And I that's why I'm always like, the shake weight, the gimmicks, the pants, and the whipped cream, because probably the whipped cream right now, number one. People just go crazy for that.
Yeah, it's funny because like I know for like my gimmick is like this comedic kind of mercenary. The way I could just equivalent to him. If people were like the elevator pitch, be like, listen, it's pretty much Deadpool in the
Yeah,
wrestling world, and because like I and just like you, like I've come up with like different spots, whether it be like the gun spot, which a lot of people for some reason pop for, they find
mhm,
that to be hilarious, or maybe it's just the simple things like the spine buster, the things I say when I hit it, or just whatever. But it is a whole like it's just me, and it's just
yeah,
like something that I think about too, because I watch you and I'm like, yo, like he has all these things in line and he knows what's going to get over with the crowd. and I kind of like try to like look and try to mirror like how you're doing your thing, so that way like people understand like, oh, he's serious, but like it's so funny that I have to like watch out for him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, again, like I don't take myself too seriously. I like to have fun, go out there, have as much fun. But I take my job seriously. Like if somebody or a promoter or a booker tells me to do something, you're like, hey, you're getting paid, do it. Like, do it. Like it's no big deal. Like a lot of guys will be like, oh my, I don't want to do this, or I'm like, oh, I don't want to like lose to this person. I'm like, who cares? Like it's just entertained. Like it's at the end of the day, like we're all going out there in our underwear and having a scripted fight. Like, come on.
So, what kind of advice would you give to like up and coming wrestlers?
Oh man, definitely just yeah, again the cliche or the standard eyes open mouth shut. But I will say this, I'll add to that, like ask questions, like ask guys like me, ask other veterans that've been doing this. I've been doing this over 13 years. Like ask questions. You know, like if somebody says, hey, you know, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or just anything. Just want to pick my brain. Like, yeah, go for it, because I wish I did that when I first started. But yeah, just don't be scared to ask questions and learn. I'm always learning. You're never gonna stop learning in this business because it's always changing. It changes every year. Every half a year, like something changes in wrestling. Like going like to the intergender stuff. Like when I started that back in 2018, it's been around way before 2008. It's been around for a long time. But like now, I was in a discussion with somebody else. Into wrestling almost became the norm almost. Like you see it a lot more now.
Yeah.
Especially on different shows where not so much 2017, 18, not as much. Now it's like, oh wow, you know, and I'm like, shoot, look at wrestling always like changes.
Well, it's funny because like I watch your the IGB, you know, the intergender bonanza, and it's funny to watch like all the different personalities go back and forth, right? So whether
Yeah,
it's like you and Adina Steele, maybe you see Kennedy Copeland, you see Killian, you see Gabby Ortiz, you just see all these different personalities like work together and working these matches, and you're like, man, they're still telling like these really compelling stories if you're paying attention to them.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're like, oh, well, I just see like a guy beating up a girl or a girl beating up a guy. Like, no, no,
yeah,
no. They are working and they are actually telling like really like a lot of great stories. And you have to just kind of watch and just like
yeah.
really understand it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stories, especially now in the IGB going on with CWO and Marcus and his group and Adina, like you just said. Like the storyline, I feel has been like the strongest ever right now. Like I always had a pretty like good grasp, but like now it's like wow, like there's so many like avenues. And I love writing stories, and we tell stories for our body. So yeah, like you said, that's why even with intergender wrestling, yeah, like it's not just a guy versus a girl. Like there's crazy like stories we can tell. And I will say like the Bonanza definitely changed what right when we crowned the very first show, when we crowned Raylan, when we did the Rumble, the very first Rumble, which it goes back to like IGB 5, which is crazy because we're doing the second Rumble and it's IGB 14. Like that's crazy, right? Like, and for some reason that's when things started changing, where it wasn't just an intergender wrestling show. It's like Stan's goofy, wacky world, and it's almost like pretty much what's up is down, what's left and right. It's because it's just so wacky, but it's just so much fun.
So you've been in a lot of different locker rooms. You've probably had this question asked to you a couple of times. So I'm just kind of wanting to know what's one do and one don't of the locker room.
um, okay, there's a lot. Do I'm pretty introverted. I think the older I got, the more introverted I got. So I don't really like. I really like. I like my own little like space because I have a huge ass bag and I like to just warm up and stuff. I would say just listen, do as you're told, and go out there and protect each other, have fun. I would not just drop your ego. Don't like think that you're better than everyone else, and pretty much don't be like a clan. Like I kind of some locker rooms, like man, these guys like they're just like I mean, I even clan off, but like they're just like, dude, like be professional. Like just know where you're. Treat it as a job, like, and it's like Jesus Christ, like, and don't be a pig if there's like females there either. We don't see that anymore, but like, come on, like everyone's a brother and a sister. Like, relax.
Facts.
Yeah.
So listen, like those are all really kind of like my big, heavy kind of questions. So I do want to get into the second best part of the 3 Count podcast. Probably trying to figure out what the first is. It's the Red Dogs Power Rankings. When I want to put them out, because some Sundays I just miss out and I don't put Power Rankings out for matches. So anyway, this is the 3 Count podcast, 10 count questions, and this is how it works. Mr. Stan, I'm going to fire off 10 questions at you, and you're going to have to give me your answer. Whatever your first answer is
Okay.
That's your answer.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, we're going to start with the imaginary timer. Bing! And in the words of Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite movie?
Ooh. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
So, Sonic or Mario?
Mario.
Favorite cartoon?
Ooh. Man, that's G.I. Joe.
Okay. PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Favorite actor?
God, I think his name's John C. Reilly. I'm butchering that. The guy who was in Step Brothers.
Yeah, John C. Reilly.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Love him.
Also loved him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
All right. Ready or Cool Whip?
It's never Cool Whip. Ooh, I hated Dina Steele. It's always Ready Whip. Extra creamy.
Favorite podcast?
This one.
Appreciate it. We got to market it so everybody can follow us. Nominate one wrestler that you want to see on this podcast.
Ooh. Mark Angel.
Okay, I like it. And then last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person who comes on the show: favorite curse word?
Fuck.
It's a good F-bomb is all you need in this life, man. That's why I keep trying to tell people. Like, no one pays attention. They're just like, oh, yeah. I'm like, no, that's the greatest word ever.
It is.
Invented. And so those are all my questions for you. So the last thing I need is for you to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Okay. Stan Stylez on YouTube, which I'm approaching 29,000 subs. My YouTube's probably like just blowing up lately. But Stan _ Styles on Instagram, Stan Stylez IGB on Twitter, Stan Stylez on Facebook, and this Intergender Bonanza, I believe it's everything on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Twitter, it's IG Bonanza. Yeah, give me a follow, give me a like, all that stuff.
There you go. So he gave you all the handles. He told you where you can find him. He even gave you his YouTube channel, so you're not going to check that out. But like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home. Because this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Into Ring. And like I said, I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. But like every good Sherpa, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. And you see him right next to me, the king of the cream, Stan Stylez. And you guys know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or you're just going to go through and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Buy our merch. Look, our social media platforms right here on the bottom. There's our merch. ProWrestlingTees.com/the 3 Count Podcast. And, tell your friends about us. And you're either doing this or you're just waiting for this episode to end. You're waiting for the outro. And then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Peace.
That's right.
What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want you to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3 Count _ pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3 Count pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm /the 3 Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3 Count Podcast also has merchandise. Oh, at prowrestlingtees.com/the 3 Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.